the third video, and we're looking at the ocean. Just some of the things that we can do with the ocean. We put a base down and then we've put a wash on. So you know that from my overall tonal assessment of the painting, I was looking to put a darker, bluer section here and take out some of that green, or move that from being green to blue, and also a darker tone. Some of the other things that I can do with the ocean is that I can mix, and I'll just do this in front of you, the liquids out of view. Actually, what I might do is I might start off with my whitest whites, and that's titanium white. And I might I'll use another brush so I'm not mixing my brushes up here. So I'm just getting a little bit of that down there that I can just draw on ever so slightly. See how much control I have from that. It's very hard to go straight into the paint and get that sort of quantity. So here we go. I've got a little bit of liquid on my brush, and I'm just going to try and load it up with this white titanium mix, off-white. And a couple of things I'm going to paint are the waves. There's a couple of waves here on the reef. You've got the image there. I've already had a go at this, so I'm just going to add a little bit more on. This should be dryish at this point. So it's a matter of just loading up your brush and then dragging it along. Now you can see I've already got a base here, so I'm not covering the whole thing. Sort of just picking out a few whitish highlights. That's looking all right. So I'll get my iPad out and we'll just have a quick look at this this picture, just to see how those waves shape up. Another area, just while I'm getting that organised, another area that's going to also be painted white is this area down here. So that'll be a very pure white. So I'll come to that in a second. Let's have a look at this one. So you can see what I've got there. I'm just going to mix a little bit more white and just thicken this up a little bit. But I'm not going to try and do too much too soon. So I've got that to there. Oh, and that goes quite a long way over to about here. Okay. So I'll just keep following that through. See how I'm sort of trying to keep it on a track. And I'm rotating my brush just to try and pick up a little bit more, or drop a little bit more paint. I will put in some white water here in this area here, but I think I'll leave that for the moment. You know, I can just do something that's suggestive of white water. And there's also some white water further out. Again, I might tone my colour down a little and then just spread that in that area. And then this little bit here, like these two waves are linking up. So I'm just going to go through like that. And that's pretty good. And there is some sort of white here on the reef draining off, some white water. So I roll my brush around, just trying to drop a little bit of paint, but not huge quantities. So that looks all right. So that gives you an idea of how you would tackle that. And then what I would do, you can see where these waves are here. It's like a darker colour. So you just get a darker colour and drag that through there to darken that up. So you can see that area there is quite dark. So yeah, that's just the unbroken bit of the wave, and you'd probably continue that down to here and put a little bit on here to match that dark bit. And then of course you can just put in some more white bits to match this, a few white bits here. And so just a few of those little highlights that are in there to give that suggestion. The other area what I wanted to do was the beach. So let me put the beach like this. I'm just trying to make sure I don't. You can see what the beach looks like, right? Now, one of the distinctive things about this beach is these strokes are horizontal, almost completely horizontal. So when I get my painting, again, I've got some white mixed here, but I'm just going to throw a little bit more pure titanium white, titanium oxide, into this mix. And then maintaining those horizontal brush strokes, I'm going to draw these in, and I might just have this in the background so I can sort of show you both of these. So you see I'm very, very horizontal in what I'm doing. And this is very pure white, that's all good. And you can see that gives quite a good result. Now what I might do, see how the green water gets pulled into here at times, it goes a little bit darker and there's some little stripes there. So you could easily look to put some stripes in there. And if they were a little bit on the strong side, you could just look to feather them back a little. So I've achieved that. And maybe another little stripe here. And then at a later stage, I'll bring some of that green in, just so it's not like a very predictable and unnatural piece of a curve. So it's a little bit more interesting than that. So that's the water. And then I'm going to go to some of my darker mixes. So we've got this. I'm going to grab a little bit of this blue, and I'll grab a little bit of my old friend. It looks like I'm not getting much of that. So that's getting darker, and I'm just throwing a little bit of blue at that to try and blue it up a bit. Any blue will do. I'm just going to just try to give myself a feeling. It's okay, it's okay. I will just throw a little bit more white in that. And rather than try and convert the whole thing to white, I'll just do it in a corner. So that's in there, and a little bit of that white. Okay, so that's a start. I have some white on this brush already, so that will be having an impact. So I will be in this watery area. Oh, what? That is way too white. I don't know what I was doing there. And this is really bad technique, doing this with mixing straight into the... I'm just trying to get a sort of a darkish colour. This is not quite dark enough, but you know, it's not ridiculous. So you can break up bits of that reef with your rigger brush. You sort of, you know, some people's reefs look very blocky, like a sausage. So you can come in with this and just, you know, like cut into the shape a little bit and break it up a little bit just with another. My mix here is a little bit on the light side, but I'm just purely sort of demonstrating to you. Okay, so that would be your rigger brush being used to do that, and there's also that area there. This area up here, just the last little bit, so I will try and get my brush clean this time. And I've got a little bit of liquid and quite a lot of blue still on my brush. I'll try and get rid of that. So I've got my liquid and a little bit of this white. And when you look at this coastline along here, you can see, although, you know, you can get a ruler here and lay it along, and I do have a ruler. You can lay a ruler along that coast and it's very, very straight. It is very, very straight. And when you see it on a topographical map, it is straight. But when you look at it, it is broken up. There's like little, along that straightness, there's little indents of coastline and waves that come out to sea. So you could very easily use a brush with a little bit of white in it, just to ever so slightly break up that line so it comes out to sea a little bit. Just small bits here and there, just to get off that line, so you can see what I'm sort of doing here. And equally with the ridge, I push the ridge. Oh, I'm sorry, did I have that out of view? The ridge was coming down and into that space as well. So anything that just sort of breaks that line up a little will do the job of making that coastline look a little bit more realistic. And of course you can always, oh dear, I had some paint on that. Did I? No. Maybe I just had some liquid. I can use my brush just to feather that a bit and get some irregularity, but make it look on the realistic side. So look, that's it for the ocean. Horizontal lines, rigger brush used to put in these waves, some white water here and some white water here and here. Really lighten up these waves here and blend them in, and that area at the base of the ridge. And that's pretty good coverage of the ocean.